Alright lads, welcome back to another trade recap. As you can tell by the title, today is my first losing day on the channel. The past couple of videos I haven't taken a trade. I learned a lot of lessons, and today I learned a good lesson as well, and it ended up in being a loss too. So I'm not upset over it, and we're going to go over it deeper inside the trade recap. So let's get to it. Alright lads, getting into the trade recap. This is my first loss on the channel, so we're going to get into what I was looking at and what trade I took and why I lost. So right away, we can look at this LRLR, right? So we have LRLR on the buy side, and this would be our final target in that LRLR, right? We also have these relative equal highs after that LRLR. Now, what I failed to see was the pre-market range, right? I looked and I saw, okay, we can have New York continuation based off of Asia range continuing higher and then London continuing off of it, right? We're respecting bullish, just tapping off of this 15-minute gap and then tapping off of this 15-minute gap in pre-market, right? So this is clear continuation type of day, okay? Now, what I would have liked to happen was a trade lower into this gap and then having an inversion out of it, right? If not that gap, we can even go to this lower one. Okay, so at that point we have this internal sweep with these lows here and then a respect of a bullish fair value gap, clear continuation, right, to these highs. We also have this pre-market high as well. So what went wrong, right? If we look at the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we have this 4-hour bearish gap, okay? This was my main target as well once I saw it. I wanted to see what we would do at the open and how we would respect this gap depending on what the open does. If the open just shoots lower to that 15-minute gap and just taps it and then takes it all buy side, there's nothing you can do, right? There's no opportunity to get in, well, with my model, and yeah, it's not clear enough for me to take. So you just have to wait and be patient and see what happens. So let's see what the market does. Boom, exactly what happens, right? We tap this 15-minute gap and then we just continue up. Now we sweep these pre-market highs and we still have this swing high from the LRLR, and we know based off of like a lot of back testing and a lot of forward testing that looking at LRLR, all of it gets taken, right? This high, this high, this high. If you start at this one, we're just going to continue all the way to this one, right? That's how it should be. So if we look at the 1-minute chart, we have this pre-market sweep here, right? So I'll just make that a little bit more clear. We have this pre-market sweep, but we still have this final swing high here, okay? Now I've seen people taking this 1-minute inversion with your trade like this, right? And then targeting the low of AM session, right? Now, why I didn't take that and why I think it didn't work out was for two reasons. Firstly, timing was off, right? 9:41, I like to trade macro times, and this is just out of the macro. So that's one reason. And then the second reason is we haven't had a really clear manipulation. If we did, then it would have went lower off of this sweep, right? Off of this sweep, and maybe it would have tapped this 4-hour gap and then traded lower through this 1-minute gap. That would have been the trade, right? But we still have this big gap lower. So if you take this inversion, right, you still have to deal with this gap. So those are the two reasons why I didn't take that. So you would have got stopped out there, and then we just continue higher to consequent encroachment of the 4-hour gap, right? Still haven't taken that LRLR. Now, macro opens 950. We sweep out this high. Now, if we were truly bullish, we make this 1-minute gap. I would have liked to see, I'm going to take away this 4-hour gap so it's more clear. I would have liked to see we left this gap, making it a breakaway gap, and then we closed above that 4-hour gap that we had. So I'll put back the 4-hour gap. That would have been extremely bullish to me, right? But let's see what happened. Boom. Swept the high, and then we came back to consequent encroachment of this range, right? So we have this kind of like AMD type thing. So we accumulate, and then we manipulate higher, and then we take the final form of manipulation, which is that LR swing high. Then we have the 1 minute inversion. This would have been the best trade of the day if I have taken it. Obviously, with hindsight, you could take it to this swing low, or you can hold it until this swing low, right? That would have been the best trade. Obviously, you know that I lost, so that wasn't the trade I took. Now, why I didn't take that trade was wow, look at that start. I'm going to keep that in. I was still looking at this 5 minute gap, okay? I wanted to see a close below that 5 minute gap and then target this low. Looking back at it, again, big range Friday with a huge range of the week. You can't expect something like that, right? If there was a 5 minute gap here, then that would have been good, but there wasn't any clear higher time frame gap that you could have taken, right? So the 1 minute was the best, but I was waiting for that 5 minute, and that was my downfall, right? I'm letting all this play out. I'm not chasing price. As a matter of fact, I didn't even look at this gap. So similar to the other day where I didn't see the gap, same thing here. So another mistake that I did. I really got to catch that. And then, yeah, we just continue lower. We tap this 1 minute gap, bodies respect consequent encroachment of that gap. It's just really clean. Now I'm getting ready to enter my trade, right? I'm hoping that the 5 minute candle close. So we're at 10:04 and the 5 minute would close at 10:05, right? Horrible closure. Okay. Horrible. So I didn't take anything, and I waited till the 15 minute close. So at 10:15, I wanted to see something. Now, what do we have? We left this swing low and this swing low, right? So I was still really bearish. I was looking, okay, we make this 1 minute gap. Are we bullish yet? In my mind, no. I put a fib on the range. I see what we're doing. We're at 50%, almost at OTE. And then also on the 5 minute chart, we have this 5 minute gap. Okay, now I'm going to take away the 4 hour. So we wick that 5 minute, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, if we have a inversion of this gap, I'll enter short, I'll target this low. What happens? Boom, inversion. Enter my trade here, targets here, and then stop at the top of the gap. Okay, that was my play. Now, my main mistake of the day was a horrible break-even point. My break-even point should have been this swing low, but it wasn't. Why? I'm not sure why I didn't do it. I wasn't clear, like I didn't see clear enough. That was 100% my mistake. In the future, I'm gonna journal, and I'm now gonna make every single swing low after a retracement to be my break-even point. Okay. So what we do is now we make this bearish gap. Okay. We haven't taken out the swing low yet, and we're just going lower, boom. Sweeped out this swing low, continued up to the gap. I should have been break even at this point. I should have treated this gap as a BPR, and it should not have been revisited. Also a breakaway gap, right? We should have just kept going lower, especially after taking out the swing low. So my main mistake was my break even point being like wrong. If I was break even, right, I would have been caught out, but break even is better than nothing, right? So that was my main trade, and let's see what happens. Boom, wicked out, and we're done for the day, right? We lost. I'm pretty sure it was like $800, right? I just traded one contract with my Apex account, and then honestly, like, I'm not upset about it. I'm upset about my break-even point, right? I'm not gonna go on tilt. I think I had a okay idea. I kind of chased price a bit, and you know what? It's lessons to be learned, right? So in the future, if we have a big range down, right, it's not smart to take this 5-minute gap, right? It's not smart to take this 5-minute gap because we're already so low in the range. But obviously, I'm gonna journal it. I'm going to, you know, continue and get better, right? If I took this 1-minute gap, that would have been the play, and I would have trailed, and it would have been a great trade. But would have, could have, should have, can't go back now. Yeah, so lessons learned for the day. That was my loss. And yeah, hopefully you guys stay safe and yeah, have a good day.